Friday Fiasco with Matt Rodbard. Rhymes with raw bar.
Crudo all the time.
Have you gotten that before?
I've gotten raw bar. I've gotten raw dog. I've gotten lots of raw. So I am a fan of the Crudo.
We're getting a raw. You're not getting a raw deal here. Jesus Christ. I need more Diet Pepsi. Thank you for bringing me the Addison Rae 2s.
Yeah.
And some Ora Bora.
Yeah.
You're a man that likes to bring gifts.
Gentlemen, I was blessed to write a Korean cookbook too, actually. And I learned from my buddy Dookie Hong. You never come empty-handed when you're going to someone's house.
Dookie and the Raw Dog.
Dookie and the Raw Dog. We go by that. We actually
what are you guys, radio DJs?
We definitely have done radio in Boston. We have like a drive time slot at Boston. But when we arrive at someone's home and we love your home, we've got to bring a gift. So
you ever brought in a gift that people were like, the fuck? Like, yeah, thank you. Pass it on.
Yes, actually, we brought a famous Mexican chef, Taco Bell, one time.
How'd that go?
As a joke, because we thought it'd be really funny. His name is Rick Bayless. He's in Chicago.
Yeah.
Skip Bayless.
And Rick was cool. Skip Bayless is his brother, actually. Yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah, dude, they're related. Yeah. Nice, bro. No, for real.
Hell yeah, dude.
Talented-
Skip and Rick.
Talented
so we brought
family.
them, this is like 2016, we brought them like 30 tacos. And we thought it'd be like a funny thing, and man, did not hit.
Did they wait? Just like the crunchy OG taco?
Yeah,
those are good, right?
Oh shit! Are we gonna go there? Taco
What's
Bell.
your go-to fast food order?
I actually been hitting McDonald's more. I think the quality's high. I like a quarter pounder with cheese. Yeah,
Let's go, baby.
I think,
Golden Arches.
dude. Definitely Golden Arches. Quarter pounder is good. I mean, it's like $19 a visit now.
They have a new chicken coming out, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, is it like the grilled chicken?
No, it's like a different type. Let me look it up. But I believe it's like Chipotle has a Chipotle honey chicken coming out that apparently has been the highest testing chicken they've ever developed with their audience.
Pastor chicken that's pretty new is fucking really good, dude.
Yo, so we can like those guys now, right? Like,
Chipotle?
Yeah. Like it's
Did
okay.
we not?
Well, there was like the whole like food poisoning thing that happened a while ago, but I don't know.
Okay, McDonald's is coming out with new. This is not what I saw. Maybe it was like some like Korean only shit, but they have a bacon Cajun Ranch McCrispy and a souped up cousin, the bacon Cajun Ranch Deluxe McCrispy. I thought they were coming out with like a new like fried technique or some shit, or like a Nashville hot honey or a hot chicken.
Oh, see, hot
tender.
honey is probably their clincher, which is not going away. Invented in Brooklyn, of all places,
By Mike.
Yeah, totally. Like
He invented hot honey.
for sure. He invented it as a commercial
Right.
thing.
Entity.
Yeah, and like Mike's Hot is like, I'm sure it's on like the fucking NASDAQ or something right now.
Let's back up a second here for the folks at home. Matt, we've been talking food. We've been talking Taco Bell, McDonald's, all the finest things.
The good shit.
You're the editor-in-chief at Taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Taste?
Thanks, James.
Besides a awesome song by Tyga.
Oh, it's a good Tyga song.
It's about taste. It's about eating pussy.
Yeah, we don't hit that lane too often, but
Tyga has that lane cornered.
Yeah, no,
right.
Tyga's great. Did you
Him and
book
Michael
Tyga?
Douglas.
Have you booked him?
No,
yet?
we you want to tell the story? Have we told the story before?
We went to LA to podcast with a bunch of people, one of which was Tyga, and we hung out at his crib all afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
Waiting for him. He was super late. He was on Rapper Time, but we were in his crib just chilling, looking at his AVN awards and all his cool streetwear furniture. And he finally emerged probably like 2.5 hours late from the call time. And there was another thing that we were all going to later, a big Fear of God fashion show. And he came down and was like, okay, I can give you like 15 minutes, maybe even less. Maybe
Wait,
like
to do an hour podcast, he's gonna give you 15
Yeah,
minutes.
Well, he thought it was like a TikTok thing, like,
right.
yo, like, what's your favorite porn or whatever?
Right.
But it was
POV.
and they're like, yeah, we do it in the car, and they're like, no. And they're like, what about like
In the
later?
car?
In the car?
Something like that.
No way,
And then
dude.
they were like, sorry, you can't do it later. It's like it's 4. He's got a 420 concert at like Palm Springs tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
So on 419, you and Tyga were not going to have
But the whole thing was that like he thought that our podcast was just a clip thing on like TikTok.
Yeah.
That's how he's familiar. So he thought he just needed to give us content for like 3 or 4 clips. And
I
we were
see.
like, no, we like pull that out of an actual show.
yeah, of course,
So-
you certainly didn't require that when you booked it and went over to Sale's house.
Okay, but what is Taste besides
So Taste
again,
is
awesome
an
Tyga
online
song?
magazine. We publish out of Penguin Random House where I work and publish books. We've been around since 2017. We're also a podcast. James, you've been on twice.
Yep.
Yes, he has.
This is Taste, and we have a really great audience there. And really, we like publish about, we talk about food culture, we talk about some home cooking, but mostly it's like the zeitgeist. It's like things that we're seeing in the atmosphere, and we do a lot of stories. So we're actually editing copy still in this day.
Wow.
It's not just about like the gram and shit. Yeah.
I have a zeitgeist
or talking shit like right now.
Yeah, or talking shit. Yeah.
I have a zeitgeist question for you.
Yeah.
Are we in a post drink of the summer world?
You know, I think post drink is a good question. I think like the Dirty Shirley kind of killed it for everyone because that drink is not good.
No.
And it became like the drink of the summer. I don't drink alcohol, so I'm not like sampling these. But I feel like right now, truly NA beer is having its biggest moment.
Okay.
I don't know if you partake. I don't know if it's worth it.
Like order an athletic at a bar versus a real beer?
Or like,
no.
or like All Day or like Creative Arts or like.
Fuck no.
There's so many good brands. Even Guinness NA.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't
Split the
tried
G
it,
with an NA. I mean, it's truly
a lot of
like
letters.
a great moment. And there's a lot of great Japanese NA coming out. So Asahi has a great product, and Sapporo, if you can find it. My point is, like, to me, that's the biggest story in drinks right now is the NA movement.
Are people talking about it like that?
I mean, I think like the writers are, and people who actually like want to go out and have a good time and not drink beer.
Okay.
And from a culinary level, fuck yeah, people are talking about it.
But are we too? Because like everything is like this of the summer, this is that of the summer. The drink of the summer was seemingly, I mean, the Negroni, like the mezcal margarita, the martini, the espresso martini, the Aperol spritz.
Yeah.
But now it's like everyone's just trying to claim that or like make that proclamation at the beginning of the summer or at any point during the summer. Are we beyond doing that?
I think so, because I think the smart money is like outside of the brands. Like every like May, Bacardi and like Don Julio will pitch all the publications about the drink of the summer. So I think like the smart publications are not playing that game.
Okay.
I think the smart publications are creating their own, like championing the 50-50 or the Vesper martinis, or maybe going after like yellow chartreuse. I mean, that's definitely been popping for a while. Thinking about like the Green Point, like some of these like modern classics.
What's the Green Point?
Green Point's like I served it at my wedding. It was like vermouth, whiskey, and yellow chartreuse. It's kind of a cool classic. It's like a modern classic.
Is it named after Greenpoint, Brooklyn?
I believe it was named after Greenpoint, Brooklyn. It's in the PDT Classic Cocktail book.
Okay.
So I obviously used to drink, given this knowledge of cocktails. I used to write about cocktails and shit. So I think that like the smart money is definitely on people and publications who don't buy into that shit.
Okay.
Just for going back to the NA beers, just real quick, for the teetotalers at home, the current sober heads such as yourself, and then just fucking nerds and dorks, what is the best NA beer that you've sampled? If you had to give a trophy out,
I'd say the two are like the All Day, like the Pilsner is really good. And then I really do like that Sapporo NA because it drinks like really crisp, like a great Sapporo, but without the booze. You're not really missing too much of that shit, to be honest.
Okay.
Like that's a good question.
Good to know.
Do you think there's a future or a space in the bar retail landscape for non-alcoholic bars, such as like, for example, what our homie Carl Radke of Summer House is trying to do with Soft Bar, currently just a van doing pop-ups, but allegedly coming to Williamsburg this fall?
Well, I'd say in Los Angeles is a really good one, and it's in Chinatown. I'm forgetting the name, but there is a proven track record in certain markets.
There are a few in Brooklyn.
They're not like in New York. It's not an NA bar town.
Okay,
I'm just saying. Like, I'm sorry, Carl.
Real shit only.
Carl's cool. Like, and I like his instincts. Oh, okay. Sorry. I was like, is this your guy? Because I don't want to like shit on Carl.
No, he's not.
Our guy's West.
I think New York is not an NA bar town. I think that New York struggled with some of the NA retailers that have kind of shut down quickly because the rent is so high, and like no one really wants to go out and go to a sober bar in New York.
I'm not trying to pay $19 for a fancy juice.
Yeah. It's not cool in that context. There is a lot of space for NA on restaurant menus, on bar menus, but just to like segregate it for a bar. I mean, isn't there like there's like a fucking like a bookstore that does like drinking and
picture
reading?
Books only.
I just don't understand when they try to mash up these things, because like a bar is a bar in New York because there's like conviviality there.
But menus now like frequently they have a more and more robust NA or mocktail section.
I mean, the good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, it's shocking how many good restaurants have like very few.
But devoting yourself entirely to that is
it's not a good move.
bananas.
I don't follow that kind of path.
Right.
I think it's a good like VC deck, like for fundraising, to say we're going to do this and that. But I don't think New York's the town. I think like places like LA is the town.
Right.
I think LA is a really
that tracks 100%.
sober friendly town, and maybe with driving more in the out
because people got to drive or they got to look good in the mornings or
it's an early. It's a morning.
They don't want to kill themselves with alcohol. Like, is that
poison themselves with those toxins? I think it's honestly a little bit of all that, but it's definitely. LA is a morning place. If you work with any East Coast town, you gotta be up at 6. And I think there's obviously 420 friendly shit, but there's also just generally like so much space, and LA just seems to kind of thrive around that active lifestyle. And us in New York, we're kind of like down dirty in bars.
Facts.
What about weed food? I feel like that was a fucking trend that kind of came and fizzled out pretty quickly. No,
they tried to kill me.
I mean, have you heard his story about going to a weed food restaurant?
Wait, really?
My brother took me out for my birthday. It was Trojan horse, though. He was coming out to me.
Yeah, you took him out to come out,
and we went.
Wait, you did a weed dinner when he came out to you?
I know, crazy. This was his decision.
Sick, really?
Obviously.
Whoa,
dude, I collapsed multiple times, dude. Even the water was THC infused, so everything was like it was too much to handle.
So did your blood pressure drop? You do one of those?
I don't know. Probably
turn white.
He was pissing in and woke up on the floor. And his jaw was
I was peeing in a urinal and collapsed.
Wait, and they took your money for this shit?
Yeah.
I mean,
and the guy said it could have been worse. You could have been the woman who straight up peed herself at the restaurant the week prior. So I was like, it was like a speakeasy thing. I don't think it was like legal at the time, but I was like, you need to be shut down by the mayor.
It's definitely
a crime waiting to happen.
That's like a bad weed food experience when they're not dosing it correctly. It's probably like the early days. We're talking like 5 years ago, probably.
It's like thousands of whatever fucking milligrams of THC.
That's ill. I mean, I think James
pizza, wings, garlic knots, everything with weed.
I feel that's just such a troubled concept. I think to your point, like Rose's edibles in LA, they do a good job. They do cool mashups like michelada edibles.
They kind of have flavors like this where it's like ginger Meyer lemon and lavender cucumber 2.5 milligrams.
They do chef collabs and stuff. But like actually doing like a dose dinner, I guess it would work. It just feels like, again, like trying to put two things together. Like with food, we do that a lot. Like food and music never works for me. Like that Food is New Rock shit is so torched. Like that is
like a mariachi band at a Mexican restaurant?
Well, I love that. My God. Like let's go down to the Hat afterwards. Right. There'll be a band in there probably.
Allison Williams doing a jazz brunch with Cousin from The Bear.
That's good. I mean,
is that on Girls?
And Girls, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds
like a nightmare.
Right? Like when it's like woven into like if it's like a French brasserie with a jazz combo, that shit's cool. I'm talking about like putting too much emphasis on like what musicians eat and have that be content. I'm just like not into that A plus B marriage.
Though, you know when it does work is food at a strip club. If the food's good, like the wings at Magic City, get a haircut, do your laundry, eat some lemon pepper wet flats and see some titties.
Well, that guy from the NBA during the bubble got busted because he was going there for the wings odds. That was the thing about Magic City.
Yeah. I just read it for the articles. I just go for the wings. You know the vibes.
I feel
wings and breast meat go together like fucking peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah.
That's a timeless classic. But, in terms of the zeitgeist and the trends, which is something that Taste is laser focused on, what are some trends in the food world that are like fucking cooked? No pun intended.
Literally.
I was thinking about like trends in being cooked. I feel like right now
I'm talking across the board. I'm talking like vibes. I'm talking ingredients. I'm talking like regional cuisines.
Yeah, I feel the torch side of the coin. I mean, we're having a little bit of a modern steakhouse moment. I think Walters came up on an earlier episode that we can dig into. I think like modern steakhouses maybe isn't like my favorite trend personally. I think it might be a little bit of an easy grab. I tend to think more positively about the trends happening right now. I try to like think like we're in like a rebirth in New York because of the post-pandemic +2. We're looking pretty good. Trend wise though, I feel like right now like regionality sometimes is overplayed a little bit. Like if you're talking about like regional Thai perhaps, but like thinking about like other countries and like even Italy, like there's sometimes is like too much emphasis on regionality. Like the Ligurian, this or that doesn't feel like it tracks too much with general diners. So I think that might be something. Also, I'm not giving you the dirt. I'm sorry. I'm not giving you the dirt.
But isn't every Italian place that is like hyper propping up its regionality just like Amalfi Coast?
Yeah, there's
in
a lot
New York
and Tuscany. I think Tuscany gets a lot. I think the Super Tuscan wine service and some of those big bad. I mean, Emilia Romagna as well with big bologneses.
When
and stuff.
We don't fuck with Tuscan food, we fuck with Northern Italian food and the Southern.
Well, I fuck with all
seafood.
Italian food to be honest, but yeah.
I feel like in terms of trends though, I love to see a little bit more emphasis on coffee. Can we go there for like
really? You want more coffee?
So that's the thing. We think we're saturated with good coffee, but we actually aren't. We're saturated with bad coffee.
Only in New York.
I feel New York definitely could use more, I would say, baristas and coffee programs that aren't like Blank Street, fuck that place. But like honestly, like a little more local. Even like, the coffee, like I love multi-roasters, like that places that offer multiple coffees. Like I love Drip. Drip has 4 locations.
We love Drip, dude.
You guys do love Drip. But I think you definitely want, I'd like to see more of these, like more of like the audience of this show respecting coffee for coffee.
So who's doing it right? Like the place you hear about in Japan where you have like 27 different beans and like it's all different temperatures and equipment.
I mean, definitely some precision is required. I wouldn't say that's too much in the weeds for a general consumer. Yeah. I think like just really good sense of like coffee with origin in mind and like thinking about different roasters. I know I'm boring you guys, but like let's like roll with me.
Like treating it like wine?
Yeah, man. I mean, there should be regionality thought about and like locality.
This is a sober guy mindset.
It kind of is, and it is my bag. And I'm sorry to go on brand here, but listen to our podcast.
How much coffee you drink a day?
I just actually drink 1.5. Like I'm not a big like, but I love.
But the cup is this big.
Yeah, right, the big gulp style.
It's a Stanley fucking cup.
36 ounces only. No, I just think I think of it like we should be thinking like we think about wine and beer and food. Coffee often gets kind of like relegated, and it's called snobby, and there's like all these like words thrown out about the coffee culture, and like it's the problem is really the coffee industry has not done a great job of articulating their passion and is like truly trying to bring out a flavor wheel and say you should be tasting bergamot, you should be tasting kefir lime, James, or else
like coffee to me.
Yeah, no shit. And that's how it should be. It should be this tastes like great coffee, but like we drink so much coffee.
How much should a cup of coffee cost?
This has been brought up a lot on our show. And I'm not trying to be contrarian, for real. $10.
Whoa, bro!
For
I mean, it might as well be $10 at this rate.
But think, yes, in New York, $10. In other markets, tertiary markets, like 6 or 7. Because talk about an affordable luxury. This is coffee. God, we're going there. This is coffee that's come from like terroir. It's been brought in. It's been roasted expertly. It's been served to you properly. For $10, I would expect it to be served with a nice glass of sparkling water, maybe a little something with it on a nice wooden tray. Or if you're taking it to go, it can be done like in a nice cup that isn't going to like burn your hand. There's just like a lot of costs that are attributed with coffee. And like, if you break down the math, it's only $10 fucking dollars. We pay 11.
That's more expensive than a month subscription to our Substack.
Yo, guys, I mean, let's tie that back together. It's that is an affordable luxury, I would say so.
I agree.
But like,
it's an affordable necessity.
Go to any bar in America and it's like $14 for a beer, typically. Not all beers.
Bro,
what? No.
For like a session IPA?
Yeah, maybe we're thinking sessions, but
not a bottle of Bud.
This is obviously this is like the guy who doesn't drink coffee.
Yeah,
the New York guy.
Beer costs $30.
You guys are going to turn off right now. No, okay, like let me like rewind that. In New York, that's the case, but if you're like, it's going to be $8-9 for a beer, typically in a bar. I mean, rarely is it 5 or 6. Anyways, I just think that coffee is undervalued.
What about like the Italian method or the Italian lifestyle where it's just like, the espresso bars, it's €1 for an espresso. You don't fuck with that?
Dude, Italian coffee fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I'm really freeing for real. Like I love it in the moment and going to a great cafe and having that push button Euro coffee that's usually Nescafe or whatever. The
pod.
But when removed from the context, like this is objectively dog shit.
It's just dog shit. And they don't like, there isn't a real sense of terroir with that coffee. It's bought by commodity. It's bought by weight, not by value of like where it came from. And like typically the espresso culture there is what it is. It's not filtered coffee poured over really nicely. Right. It's just like not good coffee, but it's great for getting you to the end, like to your end result.
Yeah.
It's a legalized drug. Like, wake up. That's like what coffee is.
Wake up literally.
Yeah, wake up literally. And like if you're having that coffee in the morning, your drug dealer's gonna give it to you however you want. But I think we're like designer drugs guys here. So let's pay $10.
Where do you pay $10 for a cup of coffee?
You know what? I've paid 10 at Drip. They have a location on Hudson Street and up in Brooklyn Heights that I go to. 8 to 10. Intelligentsia in Chicago does a great, like, you get like, a nice award-winning coffee that's been done on a V60.
And you truly taste the difference and feel the difference?
Night and day. And I don't think it really takes that much. You're going to taste like purity. You're going to taste like some like real, like interesting elements. You're not going to taste over extraction, over roasting. I know this is getting fucking boring, audience.
No, not at all.
But stick with us because this is important. Like, we fucking drink coffee every fucking day and we care about things like what we wear, what we go to restaurants for, and we care about all this stuff. But for whatever reason, coffee ends up is like a joke. And when you say something like $9 a cup, it's like, fuck. But like, you guys like good shit. You have good taste. And so
we pick and choose our battles. But coffee should be the next battleground.
I just think
the
it's
next
logical.
front.
Do you make your own coffee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I definitely do.
Okay.
How much would you charge for your shit?
You're like, I feel like you want to ask me how I make it, but then you're like, nah, bro.
Drip.
So I do drip. I use a pour over. I use a Chemex. I sometimes use a V60 if I'm traveling. And I like Yes Please, which is like an online only roaster in California. I like Say, which is down in Bushwick. I like
Say's good.
Camber out in Bellingham, Washington. Those are my guys that I like. They're on rotation. Yeah.
Say's nice because they don't overflow your cup with ice when you get a nice coffee.
That's nice. It's nice service. And like they're giving you nice service at the cafe. So.
Yeah. So food trends, you want to see kind of shift towards emphasis on coffee. Anything else like in the food world that you want to see like bubble up in 2025?
I mean, bubbling up, I think we should definitely talk about service because it's an interesting topic. I think
in the news recently.
With
Mr. Wells.
Yeah, Mr. Wells. I wanted to address because like a trend I would like to see the media and others kind of move towards is like realizing that New York isn't a fucking service town.
Okay.
And New York is a town for all the great food. We're a town of food. We're like us in London and possibly you could say
Chicago,
like LA maybe.
Chicago feels like
Chicago's got a great town. A great food scene, but it's pretty small. Okay. But like we're a town where you can go and get everything.
Yeah.
And if that double shop in your neighborhood takes some slow ass time to get you whatever, or you're getting you're at a Korean barbecue restaurant and you're not getting service for like 25 minutes because it's busy. Listen, like at the end of the day, you're getting great food at the double shop and at the Korean barbecue. And like there's been too much like air given to service
on the negative side.
Well, just like the discourse that like New York City service sucks, or like, you know, there hasn't been enough attention given to service. Well, there's a reason Pete Wells, to address that specific article, there's a reason Pete Wells didn't really write about service. It's simple. It's fucking Pete Wells going to the restaurant. And Pete Wells going to the fucking restaurant, either it's Pete Wells going to the restaurant or it's a fucking white guy going to the restaurant. And for him to judge this restaurant on its service for him and his being would be kind of amateur, to be honest. Service treats people differently by many different ways. And I don't think there's a way to give uniform great service. I think Will Guidara may disagree with me, and we can talk about it on my show if you want. But like, I think New York City is a town where there's just great food. And that's it. Like the service, yes, it's nice. And I respect servers. And I think service is
want to have, not a need to have.
Exactly. A good point. And I think, honestly, like we don't need a bunch of lines about service in restaurant reviews.
But does good service does good service bring the meal from an 8 to a 10?
James, absolutely. And very good follow-up question, because I was kind of hanging myself there because I was like,
we were watching it.
No, but like, and I think I was going to clarify because honestly, I do really respect good service. I just think in New York City, good service is not necessarily required. Yes, I respect when you have like fine, like a sommelier just having great wine service.
Yeah. And it's like, what do we mean by good service, right? Do you get to be like, have the nicest fucking like person making small talk and smiling at you? Hell, I don't want that.
Yeah, get out.
I hate that level of service where it's like, hey, what's up? How are you? We're friends now.
Do we have a birthday at the table?
Do we have a birthday? Do we have a special occasion?
What are we celebrating?
And then you get into like allergies are important, those requirements. But if you like lean on it too much and becomes too much of a conversation. I just had lunch just now at Superiority Burger and like Brooke shows up and it's super chill. Like, you know, it's like if the owner comes up and says hi, and he does it at every table. It's not like it's just me.
But what about kissing the chef? We'll get there. We'll get there.
That's a little teaser. I have a lot of thoughts on that. A lot of experience. But just to close the loop on service, just to stress again, good service is very important in a restaurant experience, especially if you're paying a high ticket. I just think this obsession with service in New York and this obsession of like service being not good in New York because of XYZ, guys, we don't need service.
Self-centered society and a very self-centered city to take it even further. So what do you expect? You only hear about it when it's bad. You never hear about it when it's like excellent. Yeah. People are just like, oh, I deserve this. So
treat
it's
me
like
the
whatever.
VIP I am. Yeah. I think the single mark or the universal mark of good service is when the server's like, I think that's actually too much. Like maybe don't do this, maybe don't do that. Because then they're truly looking out for you to have like the best experience and meal possible, not just trying to sell the most shit.
Definitely agree. And like, I love it when you can add a little bit more because you're kind of like in that perfect spot and they upsell you sneakily.
Yeah. Oh my God, that $165 caviar bump would fucking finish this off quite nicely.
Wait, what do you guys think about Teresi? I have to ask. Have you dined at Teresi?
No.
Down at the Puck Building? I was wondering.
Is it still hard to get into?
So I don't think right now anything's hard to get into.
Ooh.
We're recording this in August. Strange Delight's hard to get into. I'll shout out to those guys. But I would say
send me a text.
No.
What about Fort Charles?
Yeah, Fort Charles is tough to get into, right? I mean,
it's like 9 tables or whatever.
Yeah, those small places. I think you're a fan of Sailor, I understand, and that can be a tough table as well. Yeah. So I think like there are tough tables, but I think Teresa's probably, as we ramp into September into October, all these tables will fill up.
What do you think about kind of related to the article with Pete Wells's like final goodbye? I'm out of here. My fucking heart's exploding. I need to get on Ozempic. I'm gonna die soon because of my job. What about like kind of efficiency and technology in lieu of service and the human touch? And he was kind of railing against that, where it's like no longer impersonal. I mean, the Blackbird app where you can just like pay ahead of time as you just like walk in, walk out. Do you think that that's the case in New York?
Well, that's my guy. I've been fortunate to have a number of meals with Pete, and I gotta say that dude's hair was looking amazing over the pandemic. Guy had like the longest mane. It's like it is not the photo that you think of it. This guy, and Pete is a great guy, so I got a lot of respect for him. I'm very biased with that statement. I think that he was being crabby about technology because he's a little bit of a crabby guy, and to go after like the way that we get our restaurant news and reservations writ large is kind of not my vibe. I believe that technology only helps the operators and then helps the diners. I will say that like the places like Sell the Reservation, named after like a marginal like 90s movie, is just not my vibe. Like I don't think that this should be something that you trade and sell.
A financial instrument.
I don't think reservations should be given to people with more money. I think that's kind of the opposite of what a lot of operators want to do.
It's pretty insane.
What's up?
It's pretty insane.
And I think it definitely puts a lot of reservations into the wrong hands. And
it's dystopian. Let's be real. It's
truly. And I think I like Blackbird. Like Ben Leventhal has launched a really cool product. And I think that like what they're trying to get towards is what does it mean to be a regular and how can we incentivize that shit? I think that's really cool. Like I think if you go to a restaurant once or twice a month, you should be definitely rewarded, especially in New York where there's so much choice. Blackbird is attempting to do that by tokenization, whatever you want to call it, with the crypto side. I think they've like backed off from crypto a bit. It seems like
I hope so.
A little bit of a tough hang, but I think what they're really trying to do
free
is like,
NFT with every appetizer. Dude.
I mean, right. I mean, it's like it's not great to get those like NFT cards from a restaurant, but what is great is like if you go twice a month, you're given like 20% off.
That's fucking good.
Right? Like
that's worth it.
Like there should be like reasons to be a patron of a restaurant with so much choice. And if you like it, like maybe.
But Lauren, should it be incentivized or should you just want to be a patron to like support a good neighborhood spot?
I think that restaurants better than most. So to go a lot and tip well and all that. But I think a lot of general, especially younger consumers, maybe didn't grow up in a culture of going a lot and tipping well, need to be told how to do that. And if there's like a shiny new toy around it, it's probably a little easier.
How does Matt Rodbard tip? Matt
Rodbard? I am, again, I like an omakase, I like a crudo, so it really is on brand for me. So I would say 25 minimum.
Minimum. 25, even if the service is dog shit.
Because of pooling, one like dumbass who like fucks up is not really what that financial contribution means. And it is kind of built into, I think 25 is good. And of course, if there's anything given to you for free or any kind of like up, you got to do 35. I mean, and of course, higher if you can afford it.
Right.
Would you rather get more food sent to you and not charge for it, like on top of what you ordered, or would you rather have things in your order knocked off the bill?
I like that question because as a food writer, it comes in many ways. And as a writer, I like getting a lot of food personally.
To try more shit to do your job.
As like do my job. Like I want to try, I want to see them flex. Like that's what it's all about. They want to see the gram, all that stuff. But like as a general customer, if you're like the guy coming here 3 times a month, getting that extra dessert is not what you want. And it's kind of lends to what Blackbird is trying to do is like, you should get like a better table. You should get a round of drinks. You should get 20% off once a month. You should get a free meal maybe once a year if you go 5 times.
What about a custom prank menu?
See, that's cool. See,
you can take home as a souvenir.
See, I was catching. I'm behind the paywall, guys. I sponsor. And,
is that a flat? Should I be flattered?
You should,
I mean, I was, but should I be?
think they hit Resi well, so clearly you're in the Resi, and I know that restaurant's a Resi restaurant, so you're tagged as a media guy, so you should expect more of this.
Okay.
I think creativity is really fun, and like they're just trying to have a good time, and I think
a joie de vivre.
And like you like fucking hooked him up with like the end of like at the check, like your
True.
Amex
Again,
is,
think of that. Think of how that elevated your experience.
100% made my week, totally. And now I have nothing but amazing things to say about this restaurant. I have a story. I'm gonna go back. So it worked, right?
And April is amazing. Now April is somebody who has a lot of press around her, has a lot of like ugliness and negativity around her.
A little bit of baggage.
A little bit of baggage.
Not to no fault of her own.
Orange colored baggage.
Orange,
rubber baggage.
No, there's orange and there's
porous rubber baggage.
I mean, April was put in a horrible position. I feel for April. I mean,
you don't say.
I'm not trying to. Really
Everyone was rooting for her, right? With Sailor, and she fucking delivered.
Fuck yeah. You said it better than anyone. And she's a terrific person and a real mentor to a lot of chefs and
cool.
Not just in New York, but in London where she had, and in LA, in San Francisco where she ran the restaurant for, I mean, she's like a mentor.
So there's like in football, you have the coaching tree. There's like chef coaching trees, right? Where it's like, I guess because like you study under whoever. And I mean, I've seen this on The Bear, I think.
The Bear. Well, that shit is, they did a nice job like on The Bear to like show how like away stages work and like how those guest rotations work and how you can actually go and like work in a restaurant for, I think Cousins, like, the way that he kind of integrated in a week is a little bit Hollywood.
But also it makes you cry, dude.
So are they gonna get together, the two, like the one, are they gonna do that? You guys watched the show, right?
Yeah. I haven't finished season 3.
Okay. So no spoilers, but there seems to be some chemistry happening between the CDC or the manager and then
they didn't bring it back in the new season, but I was wondering the same thing because you want to see Cousin win.
Well, the last episode of the last season during the party,
that's right. Yeah.
There's like a little like hint of something. I kind of like him. He's the best on that show, by the way.
We talked about this a little bit with Chris Storr, but like the food industry, like they respect and like the show, The Bear. Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
generally speaking,
I mean, I know Coco pretty well, and I feel like when it's her and Maddie and some of the other people who've actually worked in industry, plus their ties to the Italian beef, like Mr. Beef.
Mr. Beef.
Their ties to that.
The original Mr. Beef.
The original Mr. Beef.
That's what they call Jeremy Allen White's in his Calvins.
I just saw that. That's still hitting today. I was in
Mr.
Midtown.
Hog.
They're going to run that back till the hog is dry.
Dude, we're recording this in late August and that thing is still on lots of billboards, man. So I'm thinking they really understand what restaurant culture is. Mm-hmm. Chris wrote that show apparently while sitting in the dining room of the restaurant, at least the pilot. There's some mythology around it. And I'm not a huge fan of this third season. I wish it was like a little more developed. The first 2 are kind of perfect. I'm sure 4 is going to be even better. I just think that they want to show the real empathy towards the people who work in a restaurant as a team. The family stuff it's a great family drama too, but like they get a lot right. And I give them so much credit for that.
I want to ask you mentioned, you're like, oh, Sailor, that's a Resi restaurant. And, talking about technology and talking about interfacing with the consumer. What's up with these Resi v open table wars that are going on?
Shit's real.
Yeah. So what's happening? Break down for us.
I got some background. So a friend of mine, 2 friends of mine operate restaurants, and apparently open table is paying like $150 to $250 per restaurant just to
shift over.
Yeah, like no questions.
Bro, we got to open a fucking open table restaurant.
A cafe here.
Yeah,
get on that. So like those are real
$10 coffee.
Yeah, all day.
You're
reserve your cup on open table.
So Open Table clearly has invested well. If this is hitting this podcast and people are noticing that all of their favorite restaurants are maybe not on Resi. Like for example, I know we both are fans of Bar Contra. That's an Open Table restaurant now.
Oh, is this because also Resi got bought by Amex and people don't want to like fuck with the evil empire like that? Or like Amex might be instituting like rules and regulations that like and policies that don't vibe with, I don't know, how restaurants actually work.
I would say there's 0% chance that's true.
Okay.
Like frankly, I feel like I feel like restaurants.
You gotta ask, dude. We gotta ask.
No. I just think that's like that's not in the calculus because like restaurants are operating with a lot of like bad actors in terms of their restaurants, like having to work with lots of credit companies.
Yeah, right. Vitali.
But
investors.
It's a good thought though, because like why are we flipping between Resi and Open Table all of a sudden? I think Open Table just sees that people are literally booking on platform and not because of paid media or earned media. They're like literally going into their app and that's how they're finding restaurants. I think many listeners probably do that. And that's a problem for Open Table. If no one's actually opening the Open Table app, my biggest fucking problem with Open Table is like straight up, you can't share like a reservation. Like the share link doesn't work.
Really?
Like it's yeah. Like,
they should fix that.
They're spending too much money buying restaurant loyalty.
But guys, like your Control C is not working.
Yeah.
Like we can't get it to work. Like I don't know. There's some like tech issues there. Maybe they're working on it. But yeah, it's So like, do you feel when you book at an open table restaurant, it's like slightly deflating?
No, not at all. To me, I mean, I'm curious how you get your food news and kind of like find things that you want to try. Because for me, it's changed drastically in the past year. Like as I've like swallowed my pride, just become like a fucking TikTok guy. Yeah. But it really doesn't matter. Like I'll go to the restaurant's Instagram, or I'll just look up them on Google Maps, and then Google will just provide like the reservation information. Yeah. It's like book on Resi, book on Open Table, or now even Google itself will just do it for you.
Yeah, I'm not overthinking it. It's like if it's there, you just use it.
Absolutely. I think if it's there and it's seamless, it's great. I'll say like I'll rephrase it. Earned media is important. Like New York May just dropped their fall preview. We can talk about some of those restaurants. Like that's important for New York City restaurants. I think earned media has a place. I think that TikTok obviously has a place. My friend Dan Holzman in LA, Kev Eats just went in and like had a slice.
I love Kev Eats.
Kev Eats is dope. And Kev Eats just did something, and my guy had like a line down the street in his Westwood Pizzeria, Danny Boy's Famous Original. Shout to that.
Oh, that shit looked fire. I just saw that.
Good. Dan Holzman, I write cookbooks with him. He's my writing partner, and he's a really good. He started a meatball shop, which you may be familiar with.
Well, that's a throwback, dude.
A little place called Meatball Shop.
Yeah. Holy
Does Meatball Shop still exist?
No. There's one location in Midtown that's quite good still.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but my guy is now in LA doing Danny Boy's Famous Original. He's got one downtown and one in Westwood. It's really good.
Okay. Yeah, some of the best pizza in LA, according to Kev Eats, baby.
Kev Eats, man. But like that's
a low bar.
Dude,
best pizza in LA.
Well, it's that, and what is it, Apollina's?
Wow. I mean, LA's got some spots. I mean, Quarter Sheets is legit. Like straight, I don't know if you've been there. I know there's hype around it.
Detroit style?
No, it's like their own style. And Hannah Ziskin is doing pastry. Okay. She does like incredible, like a princess cake and cake.
I think Quarter Sheets was on our map the last time or on our list when we were in LA last, but it's like, why do we want pizza? Let's just get a fucking.
Yeah.
Agree. If you live in New York, there's no reason to have pizza. Exactly. You got to go to K-Town.
I don't think we ate pizza once there.
Let's go to Jerry Ferrara's Fat Boy Italian sub place.
Fat Sal's.
Yeah, Fat Sal's.
Wow. Jerry Ferrara.
Yo, that shit was good, bro.
Is my guy still in business? Is he still
Fat Sal's?
No, Jerry.
No, Jerry's divested.
Okay.
That's right.
Like divested in his career? I mean, I'm not trying to. I'm not throwing shots here. I don't know.
He had a huge star turn in 50 Cent's Power. That actually a lot of people that maybe don't look like us know him more for that than for his entourage role.
Because I really like him. I mean, he's a super interesting actor. Like to do that role.
Big Knicks fan?
Yeah, no, I like Jerry Ferrara. I just haven't heard that name in a while, so I did not check Power out.
Fat Sal's.
Yeah. Very cool. So, but I think LA,
if you have stars, check it out. Book of Power.
LA's got some pies. I mean, there's a Chris Bianco place there. The guy from Phoenix, this famous Pizzolo from Phoenix. There's like good pizza in LA. But
what about bagels? Does LA
Courage is great.
Can they make that claim? Courage?
Courage is great.
How much is that though? Goes well with a $10 coffee.
I know. I mean, I'm willing to pay.
But I guess
food.
like Apollo Bagels also is not cheap because it's like super high quality and good shit,
Absolutely.
right? You get what you pay for, really.
But you guys, I'm looking at your rack of clothing. I mean, you guys.
We made all that.
You made that shit. So that's free. But I'm saying, you guys.
It was not free. It was very expensive to make.
You guys understand craftsmanship. I mean, you guys really are smart about craft and like paying for good shit.
Yeah, but I'll also still as frequently order the $8 bagel sandwich that I will have the $18 bagel sandwich.
Of course. And
we're spoiled in New York.
And like with fashion, trying to do a parallel, you're not obviously buying every piece that you see that's high. Right. Like you're actually sniping things that are lower.
These sneakers are like 2 years old, So
yeah,
same thing.
And I just think back to coffee. I mean, like you got to pay for what you get what you pay. And it's sorry, I didn't mean to be better.
Well, okay. So where do you get your food news from? Kind of like understand what you want to try next. Is it because being in the media, do you get a lot of people just be like, yo, like PR people? Is it like Instagram? Is it TikTok?
It's a variety of James. Good question. It's a variety of sources. I do a podcast. We do 3 episodes a week, so I'm always like producing and recording.
You do 3 episodes a day, brother.
I know. yeah. I mean, it's definitely a bit of a grind, but we love doing it. And I think the way we produce the show is we're always trying to get information from all over.
Okay.
So I love Tammy Teclamarian at New York Magazine, Chris Crawley. I think those guys are like ridiculous reporters. Okay. They're out in the field doing work. On the other hand, I like TikTok and I like seeing what's going on there. I like newsletters. I like Substacks. I like The Angel in LA. It has really good instincts about LA restaurants. Okay. Emily Sundberg drops in some good food stuff once in a while. So I think that like food news to me does come from firsthand sources too. So like going out a lot as much as I can. Like I just went to a place called Yao that's opened down in Tribeca. It's more of a Cantonese banquet style, and it's really cool. It's like it's in a weird, like it's literally in a fucking like hotel, like in a Clarion or something. I don't know what hotel it was, but like, or an Embassy Suites, but it's really cool. They're doing like banquet style. I just went to a new place called C, which the guy Jun Chik Yim opened from Jun Chik.
Oh, this was a big deal, right? C?
It's gotten a lot of press. He's like, off to a little bumpy start. I'm going to be honest about the food. I wouldn't like fully endorse it right away, but I think it's going to come along, and he's doing his first Thai restaurant. This is a guy who's really famous for launching modern Korean food in New York when he opened Jun Chik about 14 years ago. And he's been obsessed with Thai food for a decade, and he's finally opening his first Thai restaurant.
Is Thai like having a little moment in New York right now?
Buddy, it's such a good question. It's absolutely true. I was interviewing.
It's fucking delicious. Everyone likes
delicious, Lawrence. And honestly, I was interviewing a Korean chef who runs a bunch of restaurants in New York, and I was asking him about the future of Korean food, which is something I've written books about. And I love Korean food, and the modern scene here is amazing.
We're going to talk about it. Yeah,
we got it right here. But guy, we were like wrapping up. So I'm like, so what's good? What are you up to? He's like, Matt, Thai. This was like last year, mind you.
Oh, he called the shot. He
called the shot, and my guy is opening a Thai restaurant too. And the reason is this: Thai immigration to New York is booming. There are a lot of Thai people living here of all backgrounds. There are Thai restaurants being opened from all over the country. The food is absolutely delicious. It's accessible. And I think there's like a really big opportunity with the people living here.
Okay.
To support it.
Let's go. Man, more Thai food, dude.
More Thai food.
I'm going to eat all of it, bro.
Another fucking restaurant that we both love, Thai Diner. I went there last weekend, and unfortunately they were out of the, I know it's like kind of like, everyone knows Thai Diner. There's always a line, whatever. They were out of the Thai cheesesteak sandwich, which I really fucking wanted.
I love that.
Not your typical salad for a light fare.
That's for lunch. No, I got
frozen beer,
I got the
dude.
coconut chicken schnitzel. The coconut chicken schnitzel.
Ooh, how was that? That sounds
incredible.
Delicious. Yeah.
I mean, those guys have always been doing creative work, and I want to like, you said something that's really interesting, and you said everyone knows about Thai Diner. I kind of reject this idea that you have to go to the new shit all the time. It's like you want to go to Thai Diner time and again if it's good.
Yeah.
You want to go back to Taylor's been open like maybe a year. So you want to go back time and again. And like
I can't stop going to Bernie's.
Bernie's! Oh shit, Bernie's or A-Bar. Go to A-Bar afterwards.
Oh, the best.
That's my brother-in-law owns that spot. So
oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
That's maybe where you can get a $6 beer, dude.
I think I think
they have a $5 beer and shot combo.
Yeah.
I think they do,
Happy
and
hour.
they have good music there most nights, if not all nights. I love A-Bar. I used to go there when I lived in Brooklyn.
Always a fun crowd too.
It's always a fun crowd. A-Bar is great. So I think my point with that is like support the restaurants that you like, and like when you see this fall preview, don't just like bookmark a bunch of new places.
Right.
Balance that shit out, and don't have the shame. I'm not saying you had any shame because you didn't.
Or it's that wanting to be a cool guy, or whatever.
The cool
to put
guy.
Someone on. It's
Right.
like if you like what you like, just
like go to Buttermilk Channel in Brooklyn, even though it was open like 10 years ago on the fucking Food Network. If it's good.
I was there before Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Right. Funny about that, I went to Buttermilk Channel that night that they were there on New Year's Eve.
Oh shit.
2014. I had the early seating because we were having a party back at my house afterwards. They rolled in at 9, no reservation, they just rolled in, went to Buttermilk Channel.
Reservation.
I love that you know that reference because that restaurant's really good.
I went there on a New Year's Day, like maybe cool. Still drunk. And I poured with like a big rowdy crew.
Yeah.
And our former boss, NCB, was sitting by himself eating alone at the bar.
Damn, dude. Sad New Year.
Because he had
only
just
up from here.
His relationship had just like fallen apart the night before, or like the week between like Christmas and New Year's, like the most depressing fucking time that could happen.
The holidays are the
and
hardest.
he's just fucking. I didn't know him really at that point. I just started the complex, and he's like, "What's up, bro?" And I'm like, "Hey." And he's like, my friend's like, "Who's that?" I'm like, "I don't know, some fucking loser."
My boss, a fucking loser.
NCB, I slept.
That's our origin story.
NCB, I slept on his floor in like 1998 with his old roommate Jesse was living there. NCB and I haven't talked to him about 15 years, but that guy,
he's doing quite well.
So much respect for that guy in the game. Yeah.
I caught him at his low point. Yeah. It's all been uphill from there.
So much respect for that guy.
Well, just so real quick, because you mentioned TikTok, Matt, and we can just move past this, but just generally speaking, would you say that TikTok food reviews are a net positive, net neutral, or net negative? If you had to put your foot down.
Lawrence, I mean, I honestly think it's a net positive because what it's doing is democratizing this whole food media game. This is like my PC answer, frankly.
Sure, go off.
So this
You're
is like
behind the paywall. Say whatever you want.
No. I mean, like I love that anyone can create and anyone can be like a critic and like offer a hot take about the restaurant. So that's like the positive side. So I feel like there is a net benefit when you're calling out like Kev Eats, like great places, and helping like my friend Dan Holzman get butts in the seat.
I think what Jay Key does with Righteous Eats is phenomenal work.
Yeah. Jay Key, shouts to him. I love that show. And
but now, even though it kind of spawned this like cottage industry, like of like hidden gem culture.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a hidden gem like obsession on TikTok for creators because you want to be the first to go to the next.
You want to break a spot.
Of course. And that's cool for the operators who get to be broken. And Jakey just has great taste. It comes down to taste. I think the net negative is like, honestly, I don't want to fucking see a review in the backseat of a car. Like that
someone like eating
anything.
Oh, that autistic guy eating chicken tikka masala for the first time?
Yo.
You know what I'm talking about?
That was good.
That was crazy.
Also, like,
that was good. I saw that.
It was like Dunkin' or something. Like,
no, but salute that special boy for discovering the joys of Indian food, right?
Honestly, yeah.
You know,
and truly.
Also, I think he's supposed to be normal.
I don't know. My boy Dunkin' is.
Speaking of autistic guys on TikTok,
he's on a weight loss journey.
The guy with the trains in the UK.
Oh yeah.
Is he okay?
Francis, whatever.
That guy's cool.
Gucci model.
Yeah, but he's hot.
Love that dude.
But here, the thing about TikTok criticism is, yes, it's great when they put on a new spot and the spot has like business. But what really grinds my gears with TikTok reviewers is it's, except for the VIP bitches, whatever they call themselves, everything is so fucking unicorns and roses and so like, this is the best. Oh my God, it blew my fucking dick off. And then like, I've been to some of these places and it's like, it's not that good. You just put positivity spreads or like
might be different.
You're like, oh my, no. It's uniformly just like super posy, and they're not critical. They're just like this.
Oh right. So is that even a critic if you're just gas everything?
That's part of the democratization. Like everyone's a critic, and many of those critics aren't fucking good critics, and they don't know what they're talking about, and they want to be positive. They want to be boosters. Now there's that's like if it's like an objective, like I'm telling you about this place that opened. Yes, that's fine. But if you're like I am a critic and I'm reviewing restaurants, and this one is gas and it's not, then you're fucking failing at your job and maybe shouldn't be a follow anymore. So there's like two different levels, I think, with TikTok.
Vote with the follow button, James. Just unfollow those people.
What do you guys think of Keith Lee? Do you follow him at all?
Not really. I mean,
I'm aware of him. I don't really.
Yeah.
Is he in Brooklyn?
No, he's in Vegas.
He's
Vegas. You know, and he's super influential. And I always liked Keith's content. I thought Keith like understood, like kind of like Guy Fieri, how much he could.
He's a populist.
Boost people's places and many people of a variety of backgrounds. I think he uses that power wisely the way that Guy does. And like shouts to Guy Fieri, like that guy helps out so many small businesses in our country. And that's rad. Like that's really good use of food media as opposed to like snarking on shit, you know, and not
just being a professional hater.
Do you fuck with John Taffer?
Who's that guy?
Taffer,
the bar rescue guy.
Oh, you know what?
He's a monster, dude.
I feel
that's a compliment.
Wait, speaking of that, did you guys ever eat pizza with Portnoy? Did you guys ever like eat pizza?
No.
With him? No.
Did we ever have a 5-minute conversation with him?
Is that not how it went?
No. We never ate pizza with him.
His pizza takes are pretty good.
Wait, really? I would say that he just does. I don't think he is that critical of a. Like this, what does he know about pizza?
Yeah, like this is the topic why I brought it up. I think he has learned on the job and it has taken enough reps that I think he actually has a point of view.
10,000 slices.
Yeah, 10,000 slices. I guess if you eat, the 10,000 slice rule.
If you eat that much, well, one bite, everyone knows the rule.
Everyone knows the rule, and I think he honestly knows like what makes a good shop. He walks in, he like checks it out.
Well, kind of full circle. I actually saw him one time. I was at Four Horsemen, and I saw like a whole to do happening. And a friend came in medicine like, yeah, I think Dave Portnoy is at Leo.
Oh, cool.
Filming out there. And then the video comes out and he's like, yeah, some fucking like hipster bitch was just like rude to me. So I'm giving it a 5.8. And it's like, oh, the service. I cared about the service too much.
Or like he wants to get his dick sucked when he walks into a place because he's like Portnoy and the pizza guy and his ego. And then if you get service where they're like, well, fuck this guy, he's the Barstool Sports dude. It's like, you're going to ding the pizza.
I know. I mean, I did not want to walk into your fine office and say nice things about Dave Portnoy. That was not my plan. But I have to respect that I have to respect his method. And there's so many fucking celebrities who will try to do content and do 1 or 5 or 6 and then totally bail.
We're talking about Serge Ibaka.
Yeah, Serge Ibaka. Or like every guy has got like a hustle. Dave, that guy's done like 1,000 of these or whatever.
Yeah.
And to me, in the food media game, helping out a lot of places, maybe not all the places, I have to respect that.
Fair.
Okay.
Fair. That's fair.
Do you have a favorite style of pizza, just real quick?
Oh, hell yeah, man. Detroit.
Yeah?
I'm from West Michigan. So,
okay. So
I think like Detroit is like that perfect Frico crust, like the cheese on the bottom.
Is Jets valid?
Jets is okay. I'm not going to talk shit. The Jets in New York is not valid.
Okay, because there's a Jets that delivers to me and I've been getting it and I really fucking like it.
See, my guy, I like
ranch.
My guy, we invented fast food pizza in Michigan. I'm very proud of Michigander. We invented Domino's, Little Caesars, Jets.
Pizza Hut?
Pizza Hut, I believe, is from Texas, I think.
Because nobody out pizzas the Hut.
The Hut is pretty great.
Little Caesars? That's Italian. That's
Caesars
Italian,
is
sorry.
absolutely from Michigan.
No, that's Italian. It's Roman.
Pizza.
What's your number one pizza spot in New York?
Easy answer. It's F&F in South Carroll Gardens.
Yeah.
The Frank's Pizzeria. They've got the bread from Chad Robertson in the dough. I love their slices. Number 2 is S&B Spumoni Garden. A very polarizing slice. James, your eyes are telling me you're not into it.
The last two times I've been, it's like so undercooked that it's been like straight raw.
Yeah.
So that is
but a great vibe.
Yeah.
Turned into a full deep Brooklyn day. Right, maybe combine it with like a Brighton beach. Or
owner got shot outside.
That was crazy.
Crazy stuff.
The Lord's crazy.
But like, it's definitely a pie that has a point of view that I like. It's uncooked. That's a vibe. That's a style.
Pie with a point of view.
Yeah, my guy.
Raw pie.
Yeah.
Matt Raw Pie.
Matt Raw Pie is my name. I think pizza in New York is such a rich text, and like honestly, we've got so many styles. Like our Neapolitan scene here is like better than. I'm going to Naples in September. I've been there. Shit is not as good as New York.
Really? What about have you done like the Neapolitans in Japan that are supposedly better than like
Savoy?
I don't know the names.
I haven't been to Savoy. I had one Neapolitan in Japan. I can't remember the name. It was amazing. And I've had so many pizzas in Korea, and I've been to Korea 8 times, and it's not good.
Oh, really?
It's
Okay.
really?
Is it like seafood and like corn and mayo on the pizza?
There's some of that happening, which I don't ever ding because that's like, rad. I'm down on Korean pizza because the dough is always fucked. Like it just isn't developed with flavor. Okay. It doesn't have like a 72-hour rise and like all that shit that makes it actually taste tasty.
Yeah.
Or have a nice toothsome flavor. So I think like Japan has great pizza, but New York Neapolitan, this like Italian export that's landed on our shores with like Roberta's and many of these places, it's fucking so good here. Like Una Pizza is really good.
Mm-hmm. Uno's?
Uno's Pizzeria.
That's Chicago, baby.
Yo, what's your favorite pizza?
Oh, man.
Let's go. I want both of you.
Is it not? I was gonna say, it's not Leo.
Leo. I mean, unlike the snobby shit, Leo Industry. I had Mama Two's recently. That was fire.
Downtown or uptown?
Uptown.
Yeah.
105th or whatever.
Yeah,
I haven't had the West Village one.
Yeah. People are always there.
And then I just fuck with like honestly, it's kind of the same thing with bagels. Like sometimes I'll just fuck with like the $2 slice, not the 99-cent shit, but like just like the $2.50 slice from like Tony's Pizzeria.
Yeah.
That's why New York is so good. Like that is why we have like 50 places that does that well.
Yeah. Well,
what's your favorite pizza?
Well, the best slice, just thinking about it, like generally, is the slice that you just grab in the middle of a perfect afternoon. It doesn't matter where it's from.
Agreed.
But as a guy who likes tavern style, I really love Emmett's, dude. I really do.
Yeah.
I think it's because that's what I want. My pizza preferably is that bar pie, tavern style, whatever.
Absolutely.
And then the new place by me, Bar Birba, is really fucking good.
Oh shit, I don't know that.
Yeah, it's from the guy Matt who does For All Things Good.
Oh, cool.
They
Like
have a new
I don't know
spot.
beer, but that's cool.
It's new. It's in it's my neighborhood, my hood.
It's always expanded here in the city. That's why it's such a great food pizza city.
Let's get negative.
Yeah.
We want to ask you. It's a favorite food topic on this podcast. I believe I'm still banned, even though I could just grab a reservation on Resi, open table.
Mm-hmm.
Why did Frog Club fail so spectacularly, in your opinion?
Yeah, and indeed it has failed. It's been an unquestionable failure. A little bit about Liz Johnson. Liz Johnson's a chef there. And I have been a fan of Liz Johnson's. I went to Mimi a number of times, and she was doing this really like brasserie or more bistro style with like cool ideas about restraint, which is hard to do. Really terrific place. She was doing Friedman's in Los Angeles, which was like a modern Jewish deli. She was behind there. She ended up going to Catbird Seat, which was a modern molecular gastronomy spot in Nashville. She was there for a minute.
Was she front of house at these places?
No, always running the restaurant kitchen, man.
Okay.
She's a very talented chef.
Yeah, that changed with Horses, kind of.
And then Horses, by all means.
And was she, sorry, real quick, was she partnered up with the Horses guy, the cat fucker, whatever?
Cat killer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
Pussy killer.
That's a tough one for me to address because I just don't know enough. I know that what I do know is that many people who I respect in Los Angeles food go to Horses and enjoy it.
Still.
Now there's 2 new chefs there because Liz is here with Phil.
Right. And that guy's
failed Frog Club.
absconded to Thailand.
Yeah. That's going to be definitely.
He's on the lam.
There's a writer named Alan.
He's on the Thai lamb.
So there's a guy named Alan Salkin who wrote that big piece about the vegan chef in New York that made it into a Netflix series, a true crime series. I feel Alan Salkin's going to write something about horses and this whole thing. Anyways, I think Alan's up for it. But
so she was doing well at Mimi, at Freeman's and Horses obviously was like the place and still kind of to a certain extent is, even though in our opinion it was like, this is a very New York restaurant in LA, and that's why people are fucking, bowing down at the Horse's altar
with great service. So that's an example of where like the service definitely shines through, and if you feel it, you feel it. And I think definitely, LA is more of a service town to New York at that point, but like definitely great wine there too. So I think a lot of people go to Horses for the wine service
and a little gimmicky, which I think translated over into Frog Club, which is like, oh, you guys want the off-menu pasta that I'm going to tell you about right now?
Yeah,
like no one else knows about it, and like the celebrities and like the horse-shaped pats of butter.
Yeah.
And the fucking IG moment with the horse.
Just the name Horses has like a little bit of mystery and a little bit of cool and cachet in some ways. It's definitely like that horsepower. One name, you name it, horsepower. It's got some juice behind it.
But so Frog Club, what went wrong?
So full transparency, I've not dined there because I frankly haven't fucking wanted to. So James, you've done the work. Bless you. Helen Rosner's done the work. Bless her.
Real warrior.
Honestly, what went wrong is a couple of things. First, she refused to come on my podcast, so she didn't do an interview with me.
She didn't get the taste bump.
She should have. I mean, I'm not trying to say it would be a bump, but like I was like willing to have a nice conversation and say all the nice things I just said about her. Because
did she not do press?
So that's the problem. She hasn't really done press. She's press shy.
If you were her, would you want to do press? Well, knowing what people want to ask you?
James, Lawrence, it's a really, really tough call. And I don't know her personally, but I feel like she should do press. If I was her publicist,
get out in front of it
and just like tell some of your story, but also talk about your restaurant and don't try to do like these cheap tricks, these social things. And like New York is a tough town. She ran Mimi here for a while, so she knows it. And I'm wondering why she really wants. There's some like real thirstiness there for fame.
She caught LA brain, bro.
She wants to be famous. It seems there's like some real thirst there,
but without like asking for it.
Without like trying to do this understated, but being all up in the videos and shit. But like I feel like she's kind of going both ways. The AMA on Reddit was enlightening to say the least.
Do you think there's any truth to that? Which the big just takeaway that I thought was it used to be like a partnership, right? And she kind of like ran the restaurant and the guy ran like the menu. And with him out of the picture, she's kind of like
out of her element,
in above her head a little bit.
I don't think that's true. So back to my point.
Maybe it's the other way. Sorry, where he ran the restaurant and like ran like costs.
I thought she did front of house. They said at Horses.
You're talking about at Horses. Or you're talking about at Frog, because I think
at Frog Club, it's like there's no one running it like a business, and she is just, on a whim, just be like, oh, you know what? Today we're going to do fucking yuzu. And then it's like, well, now we got to go buy like 30 pounds of yuzu. And like, some guy had to go to a Chinatown market and run across town with an armful of lobsters.
It was like, he was doing lobsters or some kind of like crab. I mean,
uncut
all tails. That AMA is enlightening. We obviously don't know the validity of it. It seems pretty real, but you never know. I just think like she's a super talented chef. She has a really strong pedigree. And she went through some shit in LA, and I empathize with that. I just wish she would like tell her story and not do these cutesy videos. The $1,000 Kiss a Chef thing is so fucking lame that seems so regressive. And if you're like a professional in New York City kitchens and you see that on a menu, it's just insulting in a way. It's like bad
full scoff moment.
Yeah, full scoff. And like,
do you believe that Jeff Bezos bought that for his wife?
That's a juicy little tidbit. I feel like Bezos definitely has dined there because it definitely seems like a Bezos joint. I don't know. Like that is interesting.
That was in the AMA.
Yeah, it was in the AMA. So like, I think like that guy, but like I just we don't know the validity. There wasn't on the record conversation, so I have to say like I take that all with a grain of salt. But it seems like, speaking of salt, they don't salt their food, and also like serving baby carrots for dinner is not a good look.
And the whack menu with all the fucking New York the manifesto.
It's like, if she only opened up a little bit to the press in a way that was genuine, like so many other peers in the industry have done, I'm just like kind of pro that.
Genuine horses pony.
There you go, my guy. I love this show so much. That's why I pay my $30 a year, my $60 a year. I don't even know how much it costs. It hits the Amex.
A discount.
What are you guys paying that? What is it?
It's $9 bucks.
$9 times 12. But is there like a year discount?
Yes.
100. 199. I don't know.
Dude, I mean, that's why I pay for it. Shit like that.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you got the turn of phrase.
You want it? We got it.
You got the turn of phrase. But like, I don't want to end this conversation with just that negativity.
Sure.
Because like, I think again, Liz Johnson is a talented chef. She was been through some shit, and I empathize with that. I feel like she's not had a great time in New York. I think being petulant with the media is not cool. I think you should like open up to the media, though the media isn't entitled. It's her opinion. I just wouldn't advise her on that.
Totally.
The restaurant's not good though. It's very obvious.
Do you think offering group rates on Groupon will help turn it around?
Wait, you mean $50 off if you spend $150? That appears.
I mean, it's kind of like what we're talking about with the incentivization of like.
I mean, it's a version of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I sent you the screenshot. What did it read? 50 on us towards your next $150 visit. Ugh. Sign up. Limited one per person. Okay. So they're doing like a flyover on the website for 50 for 150. I mean, that is an August move. We are doing this in August. So we have to recognize the time of year. But like the problem is that she opened with such like attitude,
animosity to the media,
and then hated on the media,
and to the customer too, even.
And the customer. She was hating on everybody, and like
you got to buy my affection, literally.
And the podcasters that came and made fun of it.
The idea of like banning people for like frivolous stuff, like talking about the meal,
like this guy,
is so fucking lame. Like just face the music. Like if you're not doing good food, like you weren't being anonymous either. Like it's on your fucking show.
Yeah, I was not on the reservation though.
I mean, but like,
I was with another,
is it a private club or is it not? Like if it's a private club,
they were putting lipstick on a frog.
They put lipstick on a frog. I mean, if it's a private club, it's a private club, and there's like terms of that in membership. And if you can't, you got to let them know who's coming in. But it's a fucking public restaurant.
Do you think that it's like very public and I don't know, just it's very public failure will put other restaurants that maybe only rely on gimmicks or marketing, like put them on notice a little bit? Like, yo. You got to fucking nail the food and you got to nail like giving people a nice night out.
I mean, talk to Anoop about that shit. I mean, like you have to have all elements at launch: culinary, service, aesthetic, vibe, music, back of house, front of house, all come together. Address is important to remember. So like being in a good neighborhood, I don't know if like that's the right neighborhood for that type of restaurant. It's like the match there.
The West Village, I feel like that's the perfect neighborhood for that fucking restaurant.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, you're right. I mean, the West Village is a moving target for me. So pardon my ignorance. I haven't really like hung there too much about the restaurants there. But
it feels like it's like a TikTok playground.
Yeah. Okay. So it's leaning younger.
Yeah.
So it's leaning younger now.
In terms like it's also an aesthetic of the West Village
upperly
girly
mobile.
Yeah, I get that. So that makes sense. That's my ignorance there. So thank you for filming. I think that a lot of restaurants have to really be mindful of the P&L at launch. I don't know like what her investors were thinking. Maybe there was like a way that they could do. I mean, remember going back, they had rent in that place for years.
Yeah, right? and they didn't even open.
And they didn't even open. So clearly there's like deep pockets behind it. You eventually had to open. So maybe the financial structure and the plan wasn't as sound as like a true mom and pop with like 6 months of runway.
Right.
And like, I think that those are the restaurants with like friends and family financing that doesn't have a lot of money to burn. They have to be tight from the beginning. And that's what like we try to talk on our show. We like respect the operator and owner as much as like the chef and the people in the restaurant.
They finally let in a TikToker to do a video.
Wow, they're getting real desperate.
I've never seen a TikTok from there.
But it's that one guy who like the way he bites his sandwiches. I'm always just like, ugh, bro, like that's too big of a bite. Like he's like,
he's doing that stuff.
Big chomper.
Yeah, and another guy that's like always like, oh, everything on the menu was fucking fantastic, and like the burger was unreal, and the fucking souffle with the spinach souffle was like blew my dick off. And he's like, dude.
Jack's dining room, that guy.
So he's like a real booster. He's a booster.
Yeah, I'll try to find it. I don't want to like.
Is he on the take? You think? Is he getting paid for that shit?
I mean, most of these people
probably didn't have to buy his meal.
Most of these people are. No,
I think a restaurant that's doing Groupons is paying influencers to come in. I think that is truly what's happening there.
That's a pretty common thing now.
So would you
paying influencers to come in and like give it a super positive review on their socials?
So what's your price to go into Horses and do a review?
Horses or
Frog Club? What's your price to go into Frog Club and do a review?
$50,000.
Is it really?
Just bang my line. No,
50.
Yo, and I'll do it for fucking 5.
Somewhere in between 50,000 and 5. You should hit up.
Yeah,
throwing fits for sure.
Here, let's extrapolate this into like a larger macro question because Frog Club I think is like such a. I don't know, just like the culmination of like new American.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to see the death of new American cuisine or see it evolve past burger, fucking old-timey vegetable, fried chicken sandwich, Brussels sprouts with balsamic vinegar?
I know you hate that.
Are you hate Brussels sprouts?
I love Brussels sprouts. They make me mad farty though. Are we ever going to?
They make you farty for sure. I mean, shout out to Suzanne Goen for Brussels sprouts pancetta balsamic glaze from like New York Times 2004. I'm just trying to get the origins.
I mean, that shit is good, dude.
It's good, but to your point, great question. I think until like lawyers from like Toledo are coming to New York to close deals. Until those go away, those people, there will be new American restaurants thriving.
For the flyover crowd who's in town one night only. I need a
or like the guys from like who are rolling in from like Tucson or Bologna or wherever from all over the world on vacation. There is a style of dining that is like a crowd pleaser, and Gramercy's Tavern started it, and it's kind of funneled down.
Is it now cheap to produce? Is that another thing? Like,
I don't think like good proteins, which a lot of the new American, like good seafood and good poultry and good beef.
Oh,
like
half chicken.
Yeah. That's. I mean, prices of beef have risen like 4 or 5x in the past 5 years. So I think that chicken's gone up quite a bit too. And so I don't think it's a matter of like better margin. I think it's a matter of volume that you can continually get people to come in for good new American classics versus Yunnan. Like I love Yunnan. Like Yunnan. I don't know why I said Yan. It's Yan. New Yunnan. Like,
that was genuine of you.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I'm trying to clarify that. Like I think that there is a marketing, I would say, element to out of towners. I think true New Yorkers want diversity with their cuisine. We've got a diverse city. It's a really beautiful city. But I don't think the out of towners are like going to all those places as much. So I think
So people visiting New York, maybe if they're out of the country, they want new American.
Yeah.
So it's like it's supply and demand.
Yeah, and there's also like
give me the brick chicken.
Give me that Berkshire pork shoulder, or give me that like cheesecake, or give me that that martini. There's also like it's kind of steakhouse adjacent for those who want like they don't want to go to Keen's or they don't want to go to like Sparks, but they want to have like something like hearty that's like for their like clients or for their grandmother. And there's also like suburban New York too. Jersey, Connecticut. I don't need to name
Bridge
all the
and tunnel
states.
crowd.
Yeah, like I think New American flies with that. Coming in to see like fucking one of the coming to see like Jersey Boy. Yeah. Like you're seeing, you're coming in. You need to have a meal, but you don't want to go to like the ones in Times Square because everyone knows those are bad. But you want to go to the ones near Times Square.
Sure, right.
And those are the restaurants that like continue to do well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that's fair.
We want to bring it on to you though.
Yeah,
Matt Rodbard.
I love them rolling with it.
Soup season.
Sick
on deck, around the corner.
Love it.
What's your Mount Rushmore of soups?
Yeah, and we're gonna judge the fuck out of you.
Mount Rushmore of soup. I think it is soup season. I actually think about soup around now because like that first football Sunday.
Get excited, dude.
I'm more of a football Saturday guy. I'm more of a college guy.
Okay, that's fine.
Michigan.
I'm Wisconsin.
French onion soup goes with either.
Oh, Wisco boy.
You're a Badger.
That is my school. Yeah.
Okay. Shout out Big Cat.
But when I think about soups, the four that come to mind, two Korean. I wrote a book about Korean, so definitely tenjan jjigae over kimchi jjigae. Kimchi jjigae is pork and kimchi. Tenjan is beef and tenjan and like potatoes is how I like to.
It's
do
like
it.
super spicy, super soul, warms the soul, warms the cockles.
It's a little more mild. It warms your cockles, and you can put cockles in it too because you can put a little seafood in it.
Hey,
but like tenjan is the brown tub you would find at H Mart. It is bean paste that doesn't have chili in it. And that soup is so satisfying. So that's my number one. I love it. It's like you can have it for breakfast. You can have it for dinner.
These are unranked, but that's going to be...
Okay, yeah, but right. The presidents are not ranked on Mount Rushmore. There are no rankings.
They should be, but they're not.
Yeah, totally. So then I've got gamjatang, which is a tang, which is like more of a stew, but soup adjacent. Pork neck, perilla leaves, potatoes, and a lot of black pepper. It's my favorite Korean
stew.
While tenjan jjigae is more of a jjigae. It's like,
and are these what you're serving out on football Saturdays?
Dude, I have like, because I have people over, and like when I have friends come over, I like to cook Korean food.
Nice.
It's fun. Mulgatani soup.
What is that?
Mulgatani soup, I believe, is Punjabi. Oh my God, I might be just canceled. But it's like an Indian, American, Indian, British. It's actually, I think it's British. It has...
What's in it?
It's lentils, and it has a sourness to it that I think asafetida's in there, like hing is in there. But it's like kind of a British Indian dish.
Normally it's like tomato.
Oh, it's a French onion, dude.
Oh my God. And then the last one is definitely like New England clam chowder.
Okay.
New England clam chowder is like cannot be better.
Is that the white or the red?
That's
the white.
Okay.
Yeah.
With like chock full of potatoes and
clams and cream and butter.
It's fucking tasty. A million oyster crackers.
Yeah.
Dude, a million oyster crackers. What are your top soups right here?
French onion,
I don't know.
tomato.
Miso soup.
Yeah.
Fuck. I haven't thought about soup in a minute.
We did a whole combo. I love a corn chowder, dude.
Corn chowder I was thinking corn
I think
chowder.
it's underrated, dude.
My head was thinking corn. So miso and tenton chicken are very similar.
Okay.
Like, I mean, similar, but like there's like a lot of geopolitical issues between Korea and
Japan.
Is pho soup? We don't want to get into, but like they're like in general, miso and tenton are very similar.
I like pho and ramen on the table. I forgot what our rules were.
Not ramen, but I think pho is.
Yeah, ramen's tough one because it's like a meal.
Yeah.
Tom yum soup.
I love the question.
Tom yum.
Oh, fucking sweet. Or hot and sour soup, Chinese American. Hot and sour is awesome.
Hot and sour is really good too.
Underrated.
Khao soy. I guess that's kind of similar to ramen.
Khao soy is more like a broth. Is khao soy a soup or is that more of like a braid?
It's kind of like ramen where it's like noodles in a broth.
Yeah, khao soy
with a bunch
like
of other
noodles
shit.
And braid, like brothy noodle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard because pho is like such a good soup, but it's kind of a meal.
Right.
Piece.
Well, that's what even stew. It's like because like a soup, you like.
Is chili a soup?
Oh,
chili's not a soup, man.
But chili is chili, but chili. Good chili. That's your football Saturday,
Chili's
dude.
Chili.
Good chili.
I like a long like caldo verde is good too with Portuguese stew. Like I like a long
pozole.
Mexican soups are so good.
So fun.
Tortilla soup.
Underrated. Mexican cuisine is the best food in the world.
You're number one.
If you had to stick,
Korean?
if you had to do one, you're picking Mexican over Korean.
I mean, no, I'm not because I love Korea and I have a lot of Korean. I've enjoyed writing these books, but I think Mexican food is so good. It's
for me. I think if I could do two cuisines, Mexican and Japanese.
Two?
Yeah,
that's not a game. You got to pick one.
It's
Chinese. All
for
day.
you,
100%.
Chinese. Like, do you like the regional stuff, like the Szechuan?
I'll eat any Chinese food. Any food from China, I will eat. Dude.
I mean, it's an amazing culture. There's a lot going on in China. I mean, Korea.
you don't say. They got a lot of people, dude.
A lot of people.
Do you think there's a region of China that's like next up in terms of like being like the hot spot?
Wow, dare I say? I mean,
and can it please be where the fucking the Northwest where the Uyghurs are getting massacred?
Yeah, that's a thing. I mean,
but the shit is fire. It's like Central Asian.
There's been Uyghur restaurants out in Queens and they're out in Brooklyn.
Is that similar to like Tibetan food?
No, it's like it's more like
further.
Okay,
it's like more like Central Asian, even Middle Eastern a little bit. Okay. A lot of lamb, a lot of crazy spices.
Oh, because they're Islamic, right? That's why they're getting killed.
Yeah. Chengdu, like Szechuan, is probably still has a lot of room.
A lot of mileage. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. I think China is no monolith. It's like a crazy place to think about. So I don't know. I think like Korea is still popping though.
Well, is co-writing a Korean cookbook really just a fucking way to get the publishers to fly you to Seoul?
My God,
let's be honest here. Let's be honest here. You said it 8 times, right?
And I say that only in context just to like frame that I love this culture and I feel like I've seen Korea grow. I've been going there since 2013. I originally went there. I wrote a magazine article for Bon Appetit. I got to go there with Eric Repair.
Nice.
And I've been there with a couple chefs. So over the years before I wrote the first book, Korea Town, I got to go, and Korea has changed dramatically. Back in 2013, K-pop was like still a regional movement.
Yeah.
J-pop was probably on par with K-pop back then, and of course, like the Korean cinema had not hit the mainstream the way that like Parasite and others like the way
we only had Old Boy.
Old Boy has been the classic forever, and that's a real grail movie. I think that honestly, the movement of Korea, like it's a remarkable story. It's a country of 60 million, 55, 60 million people the size of Indiana.
Right.
And the amount of influence and clout that Korean culture has in the
world. Are we
world.
only counting half of the population?
Well, this is what is geographically considered South Korea.
Right.
A peninsula.
A peninsula. We refer to it in our book as Korea just to keep it, like a little bit more, I would say modern, and just like that's the way we write about it.
We had this conversation with W. David Marks, who's like been a culture reporter in Japan, where
Definitely.
it's like Japan still has the kind of gold medal when it comes to like the craftsmanship and like the ancient techniques, but Korea has the mantle now when it comes to like the soft cultural power of K-pop, cinema, skincare, technology,
Samsung, Kia,
the aesthetics of like people's faces,
fashion.
And like, people think of like
cutting edge
a futuristic Asian cutting edge city, and it's Seoul. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean it is the absolute cutting edge city. It's laps Tokyo in many ways. Outside of the love of consumerism and the food, I mean Tokyo really has it there. But I really feel strongly that Korea and in Seoul particularly, there's like that's like the real zeitgeist of Asia
versus the retro futurism like we talked about of Japan, where it's like what you think Tokyo is actually what Seoul is.
Agree.
Now,
It's
right?
like, well said. And like neighborhoods like Songsu, which I've written about, and like places in the South as well. There's like neighborhoods that really, they have like 500 cafes, like literally in mass. And each one has like a real movement around it. And I just would say it's remarkable how Korean culture has spread. It started through China, Thailand, places like Malaysia, places like Indonesia. That's where like K-pop got first really big.
When I lived in Thailand in 2008, 2009, like K-pop was the dominant force.
Agree. Think about that.
Which I had no idea.
And that's where it started. And like, that is a lot of people like in those countries I just mentioned. Sure. And like, this is still, to remember, a country with 55 million people the size of Indiana. That is Korea. And
dense as fuck, boy.
Yeah,
it's just crazy how things have changed. And we write about in Korea World how the food culture really is wrapped up in all this movement. And like, we covered the modern Korean scene in the book.
Is it hard to go out to eat there and hang out when you're not drinking? Because I know like alcohol is such a big part of like the communal food rituals as well, right?
Well, absolutely. And, I went there. I think I stopped drinking around the time I published my first book. So I wrote the first book while drinking.
Too dirty.
You're like, I can't go back.
I think I retired after.
I gotta chill.
I wrote one Korean cookbook and retired, and I may be half kidding. But definitely things have changed. So when I first started going there, of course, we know how it goes with Korean and East Asian culture. Salarymen drinking with bosses, drinking with partners, drinking with friends. There's like a lot of drinking. It's changed slightly. I was just there reporting a story in January, and I was there talking with. I get to travel with a lot of people who live in Korea and Korean Americans, and it's changed dramatically. That like there's feminism is on the rise, but of course nothing close to America. But also there's a sense that like,
well, we're about to go back, so Maybe.
I say that.
Actually, I don't know.
That laugh was too loud.
I was going to say,
damn, laugh
it's
is not
cool,
a cosign.
dude. Now we know the truth in your heart.
A laugh is not a cosign.
Like a month ago, that statement would have had maybe more weight.
Oh my God, a laugh is not a cosign. I think
retweets are not endorsements.
So like in Korea, like in America, the youngins have clout in the corporate world, and I get a sense in talking to a lot of my friends there. A lot of younger employees don't want to do that shit anymore. They don't want to go out and drink with their boss. They don't want to have to pay for it. They don't want to be hungover. So there's actually like corporate rules, some of these big chobo companies like Samsung and CJ that like ban it, that ban this ritualistic drinking. So yes, there is still a lot of drinking there. It is like fucking fun to hang out in Korea, but like the corporate stuff is less.
It feels also a very 24-hour city.
Oh shit!
I mean, shit does not close.
The city that never sleeps, you might say.
It's the city that never sleeps in many ways. I think like I was just in Mumbai, and like Mumbai like wakes up at 11. Like it's crazy how like it's like a slow roll into the day,
slow burn.
But like Korea, like if you go at 6 a.m., like people are out and having kimbap and like going to school, and like people are going to work at 8, and that shit is popping. And I think late night, especially on weekends and like university towns, and guys, it's crazy how much is going on in
Party
Korea.
never stops.
And so like the fashion in Korea, I went to the Otis Error. Is that brand?
Oh yeah.
That Korean brand. Like the concept stores in Songsu are fucking cool. Like there's cafes and concept stores, and like the retail in Korea is obviously has gone to a new level, a new gear that is worth exploring.
Absolutely, would love to.
Yeah,
would love to go over one day. You're here on our podcast. You yourself have a podcast. You crank these bitches out.
3 a week. 3 a week, man.
Who is your dream guest that you haven't gotten yet?
Oh my God. Well, Guy Fieri for sure is one. I've interviewed him, but not on mic. Ina Garten, I've interviewed. I'd love to have her on. I feel like Liz Johnson. Come on the show, Liz Johnson. I would love to talk to you about Mimi's and your wonderful work, and maybe what has happened at Frog Club.
Maybe.
Speaking of goats, like a lot of people you named, like let's talk about Bourdain real quick. What do you think of like the memification of him, and do you think it's going to affect his legacy? Because I'm seeing now a too cool for school like pushback against the idea, because he's having this moment where he's so omnipresent in memes and on social media.
Lawrence, it's a really keen observation, and I think
thank you.
I knew Tony personally, so not to flex. Just as a disclaimer, I used to work at 0.0 Production, which is his production company, and Tony was somebody I knew since college. I interviewed him in 2000 and have known him, and he actually called my father on Father's Day.
What?
As a favor to me, someone who he barely knew. And I emailed him out of the blue and he called my dad. And
that's so sick.
That's a memory that I have. That's the good side of Tony and really a real man of heart and a man of real loyalty. Dark side too.
Sure.
And like, I think there's been a lot written about the positive side, less written about the negative side, but I think there is two sides to him. The memification is interesting. That story in the New York Times is very good and kind of like captured some of the spirit of what's happened. I think that ultimately his TV show was very up and down. I don't think every show was good. And I think that is what is kind of catching up to. I think there's like some really good shows, but some shows that just don't date well.
Right.
They're pretty male centric. They're pretty macho. There's like glorified drinking. There's like stuff that probably does not date well. That was a little macho and bro, frankly. And that is what's catching up right now. And that is affecting his legacy. Ultimately, the big picture is that Tony meant a lot to what I do, food media, and changed the math for all of us and deserves that recognition. I have the personal story. I think others probably have a negative personal story of Tony. He was very difficult to work with, as many have written.
Was he a perfectionist?
What happened?
Was he just a chef?
Tony was, like you, Lawrence, a real cinephile.
Okay.
No, Tony,
Thank you.
like anyone, like you, goes and watches like 5 movies.
Yeah, kind of fucked up his dating life.
I mean, it probably fucked up
And
a
his
lot
life
of
by
it.
extension.
How many movies do you think Tony watched in a year?
I bet Tony, my guy was flying around and I bet the guy had an iPad. I mean, that dude is probably crushing like 3 or 4 a week, 5 a week.
Rookie numbers.
I know.
Pumps those numbers up.
Are you on Sean Fennessy's numbers?
I think I keep pace with Fennessy. Now I wish I got paid to watch
Sean
those
Fennessy
movies.
just cranks.
Shout out Fennessy, dude.
He's Sean Fennessy, my editor long back in the day. Shouts to that guy. I feel like Tony was somebody who really was difficult to work with because he had a vision at all times and truly did not deviate from that.
Never
vision.
compromised on that.
Yeah,
vision.
and real auteur in that way. And like he hung out with auteurs. And I think like if you read about any directors of all backgrounds,
Oh, dude.
difficult people.
Fincher, Kubrick, all the greats
Fincher.
are impossible.
Impossible.
But is this not true of great chefs?
Well, I would disagree, James, a little bit. I don't think that all great chefs have to be perfectionists and or assholes in the kitchen. I think like a
I've
lot.
only seen The Bear.
Yeah, The Bear is one. I mean, Charlie Trotter, watch that documentary. That shit is dark. Like
Okay.
that is it's on Netflix now. It's really good. I think that chefs do not require that mindset. I think of chefs like Sean Brock, and I didn't work with Sean Brock every moment
Charleston guy?
from Charleston. Sean definitely had substance issues and has talked about it, but honestly, I've never heard a bad thing about that guy in the kitchen.
Okay.
And never heard anything like a real mentor, a real like gentleman. So, and listen, I'm one guy who has my information.
Right.
And there's like examples of the Seans of the world who I think have gone through the world to great success and not been one of those raging assholes. So I think like our tours probably fall into that realm as well.
Okay.
Right. Some directors don't require to be the asshole, but also like think about like a film. You've got like 25 days to do this thing. That's a stressful.
If you're broke boy with no budget going indie, but
I guess
it's almost like
6 months.
when you hear about great directors or like by extension great chefs. We can put Tony in there. It's like you have your guys that run that shit like a dictatorship, and there's people that are super collaborative, and it's like
so.
They're and it's weird. It's like there's not a lot of middle ground. To be great, you almost have to be completely on one side or the other. At least from my.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Research.
What about Midnight Diner? Do you guys watch that show? Japanese TV show?
No,
but I know. I know about it, but no, I haven't watched it.
It's really for food. If we're going to talk about food TV and food media,
that's your shit.
That's my shit.
Midnight Diner.
It's
very like nice and wholesome, right?
Well, with a little bit of like Japanese like satire and a little bit of like melancholy. And
is it scripted or is it?
Yeah, it's a scripted show.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like it's kind of like Cheers. Like everyone sits around a bar, and then like there's vignettes from each of the characters throughout the. It's like an anthology series.
That's dope.
Of something. No, it's not anthology. It's like serialized, but it's good and it's one of my favorite programs. It's very empathetic to people and
That's
humanity.
beautiful. A lot of good art is, by the way.
Does that influence your podcast? I felt very welcome and like.
Did you feel welcome?
Yeah.
Well, your show too. Like it
shows
does.
Plural.
Yeah. You have
throwing fits. I thought you meant my episodes with you.
No, we've done shows. I think your show too. I like to think of our show as a conversation show, like that we aren't like saying like, tell me everything you want to do with like nutritional yeast. Like that's a lot of food podcasting to me, and fine, there's an audience for that. But for us, we really want to have conversations with chefs producers, with like fucking people. The guy who started Olipop, like what the fuck is up with your thing? And like we definitely want empathy, of course, but we want to be entertaining like you guys. Like it's a show.
A good hangout.
Like it's a show. Like if you're looking at you're looking at a camera or you have a microphone plugged in.
Yeah.
In the podcasting realm, and if you're this far, you probably think we're entertaining, or at least the host of the show. It's fucking important that you're not boring.
No,
and I think
sure.
that's what's most important.
Well, good hangout is entertaining and then can be deep and thoughtful. It's like finding that balance. Like, and any show that puts out 3 eps a week, to your point, or even like what we do now, it's like you got to know what you're doing.
You guys do 3 sometimes.
We do 3 every
we
week.
record 3, but we don't. Well,
No, because after
because this is a Friday
this
fiasco.
is going to be the 4th of the.
So
well,
exactly,
maybe not,
you've got you've got the Monday, you've got the guest, you've got the Friday fiasco, and you got afters.
Yeah. Well, so here's a question. Let's talk about James real quick, right? He's been on the show twice.
Yeah.
How do they perform?
James have performed in the top 20%.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's like a plus.
Can we're late behind the paywall, and Jason Stewart's my guy, and his Rights for Taste. I hang with him. Is there like a low-key rivalry with How Long Gone?
No, those are the guys.
I'm fucking around, but like I feel like not rivalry because we've
known them forever, and they've both been on the show.
No, rivalries can be good though. They can be healthy.
Oh, is he talking shit on his taste about
it? No.
I hadn't listened. I only listened to James.
Jason's the nicest guy. And like, so is, I don't know Chris at all. Like he's been on the show, but I don't know him that well. But like,
is it normal in food media to only write on your Substack once every 3 months?
Now see, you opened up Pandora's box.
I'm new to this food media world, you know?
My guy, I was like, Jason, you don't have to write for your Substack that is only updated every month. You can come write for Tasting Things. He's written several things, including a great piece about horses, a piece about Noma.
Right. Yeah.
He's written a lot for Taste, and he's a very funny guy and very talented. Backing up, it's not a rivalry, but like I've had people in my life who like both shows. I've had people in my life, like I'm more of a TF guy.
Oh, sure.
I'm more of an HLG guy. And like I've been to an HLG show. I've never been to one of your live shows, but like
we don't do them.
We don't do them.
They don't make money.
Challenging thing, but like I feel it's podcasting is better than ever in the space that you play in.
Too many, honestly.
Probably right, but like you guys both kind of capture a similar audience. I would think.
Sure. Yeah. Who's gotten the most listens? Who's the number one?
We had Jamie Oliver's been on several times.
Oh, there you go.
And he's my guy. So we have a fun time. Roman's done well. We've had some really good ones. Rachel Dratch has done well.
Oh,
we book like celebrities too, and those will, like you guys, like you'll get like that little bit of pop, but then it'll kind of like.
Well, that's the interesting thing, and if we're behind the paywall and we get in the weeds, we could like book a celeb, and then we could like book a homie, and you'd be surprised how like. Maybe it's like a heads thing where it's like, oh, this is like a fashion deep cut big brain. That shit typically overperforms whatever fucking rapper.
I mean,
sometimes
Sundberg's been on twice. Those have performed very well.
Yeah.
I feel like, and she linked obviously, so that helps. I mean, we like to talk to a lot of journalists like yourself. Like we think that thought leaders and writers are very cool and better conversations than like the ill-prepared celebrity. Bartees Strange came on, lovely man, musician, performed probably the lower of the tier. Though I like that guy. I just think the musician.
I thought you were saying Bartees from Love is Blind.
Oh, no. That would be fucking ill. No, Bartees, that's his name, right? Bartees Strange?
I don't know.
Bart?
I don't know who the fuck you're talking
about. All right,
about.
well, I guess that's why.
So why has James been on twice and I have not been asked?
Well, my man, I've never met you.
Well, now you've met me. I'm a
my friend.
You guys want to talk about Walters for an hour?
Yo, I'll defend that shit.
No, I think
I'll put asses in seats.
I think you both are really good on the mic and live by real truths. And yes. Lawrence, you're invited on the show.
Thanks. We'll talk fast food.
We can talk about movies too. How about that?
Yeah,
there's lots of cinema stuff.
We'll talk Burnt.
James is
Bradley Cooper joint.
Not great. I don't love that one. It's not one of my favorites.
We're not chef with Jon Favreau.
So that
one.
He
sleeps with ScarJo after making her like a bucatine.
And
shouts to Roy.
Is his baby moms.
There's some really bad ones. I mean, The Best with the Bear was such a surprise. I mean, there really was.
That's real.
What's a good food movie?
Not documentary.
Some people say Tim Popo. I don't know if I agree. Big Night still. Do you know Tim Popo?
No,
that one's a Japanese. That's good.
Ratatouille.
Oh, yeah.
Ratatouille's great.
Is that number one?
I'm not a kid guy, so I don't roll in that. I don't play in that sandbox. I think
man, Pixar's for adults too.
It's true. Some would say. I think that uncles and aunts would say. I think I'm going to say I like Big Night. Because of
I'm literally looking at that right now. That's 96. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Night is probably in terms of shooting the food and having like a decent story. That's pretty much there. Tim Popo is up there. That one that just came out, Juliette Binoche, I interviewed the director. I liked his conversation. He was a cool guy. I wasn't a huge fan of that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, is that the French? Is that a French film? They fall in love and it's the period piece.
Yeah.
Okay, I heard that was good. I have not seen it.
A lot of people liked it, and I could have been just off on that one, but they compared that one to the shows, the movies I mentioned.
Okay.
I mean, Godfather still has great food
scenes. Well, that's the thing where it's like, is it a movie about food, or can food play a big element in like a more interesting story?
Who doesn't want to talk about the slicing garlic and Goodfellas scene? I mean, that is truly one of the most iconic scenes in all of cinema, and like
a character in and of itself.
I feel Chris Storer. I feel Andy Greenwald. I feel you had Conrad, and Conrad, I feel that guy from
Industry.
Industry is a big food guy.
They both are. Con and Mick love
and
their
Carbone, Polo Bar, La Grill.
All these guys.
The new American hotspots.
So these screenwriters who understand zeitgeist with their work, or have like a sense of drama, or know both, are going to write another food show that rivals The Bear in influence. That's like, I guess, my challenge to those guys. I feel Andy, it knows the food scene so well as a fan, as someone who's written about it, and as a screenwriter. And same goes with the boys from Industry.
Right.
So
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
The gauntlet has been thrown by Matt Rodbard.
Well, look, Matt, before we get you out of here, we got to ask, we only ask the big questions. We got to ask you the toughest questions. Gun to head, what is the best restaurant in New York City?
It's because of a personal experience and personal preference. Gun to head. I still think French Louis on Atlantic Avenue is my favorite restaurant. That is not a cool restaurant by like hypebeast terms, but it's like a place that's very special.
That, by the way, would not be cool.
French? Is it French?
It's actually by the guy who does Buttermilk Channel. So it's a neighborhood in Borum Hill on Atlantic Avenue. Definitely the best restaurant.
Okay. What's the best Korean restaurant?
Definitely Choronggol. Choronggol is on 35th Street. They do like Kongbichi Jjigae, kimchi jjigae, like tofu restaurant, like sundubu. That's the one that you get there at like 11 and you got to wait a little while. I love that one.
Oh, can I ask you? So I asked you about Jets being valid. This is more in my lane.
Yeah.
Banchan, valid or not?
Which one? Banchan?
Banchan, is that valid?
You mean the chicken place?
Yeah, is it valid as a chain?
No, it's cool. Like I don't.
Because I love Banchan, but I know there's better Korean fried chicken.
And you know what? Your face lights up when you talk about it. I feel Korean fried chicken.
Garlic all
It's
day,
valid
baby.
if you think it's valid. That's
what I want to know from the expert.
KFC is not. In our first book we wrote about it. In our second book we didn't. I think that it's a beautiful thing, but there's more to Korean food than that.
Right.
Frankly, I think it's.
But it could be a gateway for someone like me who's a populist, you know,
and have some of the little radish too. That's the cool thing about.
Oh, come on, dude.
That's the best part, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's like a real
little palate cleanser.
Exactly.
Last question for the people taking notes at home. What's your favorite new restaurant in New York City that opened this year?
Oh, this year, I'm going to say I've had a few experiences this year. I feel like, is Superior Burger this year or is that last year?
The reopening?
I think it was this year.
Is that? I don't know if that counts based on our guardrails.
I think it counts.
I don't think it counts. I think
it does. It's a whole new menu.
I'm dropping the ball.
It went from a hole in the wall. It went from a hole in the wall to a full
Was that
restaurant.
reboot last summer though, or last week? Was that this winter?
I don't. No. I was.
Do you guys still use Swarm or Dodgeball Foursquare?
Is that the letterboxed of
restaurants?
Lunchboxed. Sorry, I entertained myself.
I'm gonna shout one out that's probably like in this past year and a half is Augie's Counter.
What's that?
It's been out there. Crown Heights.
Okay.
Jeremy Solomon's the chef. He does like this style of like Ashkenazi classics, but done with like a really, really like kind of beautiful plated way.
What's an Ashkenazi classic besides me?
Like you are Ashkenazi. Like he's doing latkes in a way, like potato pancakes. He's doing like pickled fish. So like there's like some of those classics, but it's actually more Hungarian though. That's the other thing too. So
that's me, baby.
Have you been back to Sammy's Romanian since it reopened?
I haven't. I've been wanting to go there. Is that good?
Yeah. No, I haven't been back since it reopened, but apparently it's like just as good as it once was.
Oh, I mean, it really felt like that was a loss for New York when that went away.
Was that a pandemic L?
Yeah, it was kind of a pandemic L. There's like, I mean, Superiority is definitely on my list, but like,
what do you order there? What's overrated?
I mean, I like the Yuba sandwich. I like the burger. I mean, whenever he has the pearl dessert, the pearls,
all the desserts fucking hit.
All the
Speaking of Superior Pizza, Superior Burger and Best Pizza, Chrissy's Pizza might be the best pizza in New York.
So Chrissy and I've been the guy Chrissy we've been chatting is opening Greenpoint soon, and that's going to be cool.
It's the real fucking deal.
Yeah,
We're in Greenpoint.
He didn't say. I mean, Brooks, I was just chatting with him literally like this afternoon. They're doing other pies at Superiority now.
Not from Chrissy's.
Not from Chrissy's. Chrissy's is doing his own thing. Brooks is doing pies. And Brooks is like Mr. Focaccia. Like that shit is ill. So he's doing pies on the weekends from 11 to 1. I feel like Superiority after 11, not that we want to go there, but like for this listenership is pretty, there's like a fun place to hang.
No, for sure. I mean, if that's how, that's how you can only get Chrissy's, right? And also if it's going to Greenpoint, I know you probably have some thoughts here. Let's divest from Paulie G's people, right?
I think so. I used to work across the street in that big building in Greenpoint.
The old pencil factory?
Yeah, dude. You guys work there? Do you have
No.
The pencil factory?
Yeah, pencil factory.
Not just the dick sucking factory.
I just know like all the small creative businesses that work.
Lots of creative agencies. I used to, including our work there. I felt like that. We went to Paulie G. We actually went to that Vietnamese place across the street a lot too.
To what?
What was that Vietnamese place across the street?
D&D?
Yeah, D&D. That place
Not
was
bad.
Good. Yeah, really. That was solid. Yeah. I saw that neighborhood really grow up. Like Franklin really, really, really grew up in the past like 5 years.
Yeah, it could feel a bit Bedford Avenue.
Oh, I'm sure, man. I haven't been
not that bad, or it can feel more like, I don't know, like Vanderbilt Ave, maybe in like,
Vanderbilt Ave.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's getting a little bit older.
A little bit like Young Family.
Yeah, it's getting a little older is what I get.
Fort Greene mode.
A little DeKalb, yeah.
Greenpoint is a tricky neighborhood because like you got cool spots, but you've got like McGorda Lake Park area too. I don't know.
Which is kind of just like residential, like, I don't know. That's where I live.
That's where you live.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but then like Franklin Ave is like, young fucking, art directors.
Yeah.
Young,
right?
but
but young, but like nesting.
Yes.
Like first serious relationship apartment is Franklin Avenue.
You know what still fucking slaps? Achilles heel.
Oh, definitely with the fireplace and stuff. Yeah.
They brought in a Korean chef.
Oh, cool.
I forget her name. She was having like a Banchan pop-up.
Ooh, really?
All around Brooklyn. Sunny?
Oh, yeah. Banchan by Sunny.
Yeah. And then didn't work out. She left. New chef. Fucking slaps. Just like it always has.
I love that idea of Achilles heel still being around. Because I feel like Greenpoint definitely has had its ups and downs.
It's now surrounded by like glass tower condos, but it's still kind of like an old, it's nice, but it's like, wood that's kind of like splitting apart.
It's nice in there.
Fireplace. Yeah, it's nice.
But it's got a vibe.
The down is what? Ray's opening?
Oh, is there really?
There's a raise there. Do
people still talk about Ray's? I feel like I haven't heard much about Ray's in a while.
Just me right now.
Yeah.
So Her Name is Han is one I have to shout out. It's a Korean restaurant, 31st Street. It's from Han Hospitality. It's probably my favorite Korean restaurant.
Oh, yeah?
That isn't like a soupy and stewy, like traditional place.
K-Town will always have a special place in my heart and my loins because that's where I lost my virginity. Matt, thank you. I'll tell you the full story over some NA beers. Matt, thank you for coming out to the first Friday Fiasco, the Substack era. Couldn't have had a better time with anyone else. Really happy we got to do it. Thank you for coming down to the city because you don't live here.
Yeah, I live up in I live in Orange County in Hudson Valley.
Orange County,
bro.
Matt, what do you want to plug? Where can the kids follow you? Where can we listen to Taste? Where can we read Taste, etc.?
This is Taste is the podcast. It's on wherever podcasts are
Listen
found.
to James's episodes if you want to get into it.
Yeah, check out James' episodes. They're great episodes. And also, tastecooking.com is the domain, and the book is Korea World. That's
right here.
Boom.
Thank you for plugging it, boys. And
you
know what?
This is out, right? Yeah, this is out.
I love being behind the paywall. When I'm on a nice run, I'm typically behind the paywall. So I like what you guys are doing. Keep it up.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you, Matt. Thank you.
Peace.